Artemesia Gentileschi was an Italian Baroque painter, today considered one of the most accomplished painters in the generation following that of Caravaggio. She painted many pictures of strong and suffering women from myths and the Bible, victims, suicides, and warriors. She was also one of the first female artists to paint historical and religious paintings, often including mythic, heroic women at a time when such things were considered beyond a woman's reach. Her depiction of traditional stories of rape and vengeance marked a new trend in the history of art. She maintained good relations with the most respected artists of her day and was able to win the protection of influential people, starting with Grand Duke Cosimo II and especially the Grand Duchess Christina. She had a good relationship with Galileo Galilei, with whom she exchanged letters for a long time. Agostino Tassi, who had been asked to mentor Artemisia in the absence of her father, raped Artemisia in 1611, and when he refused to marry her despite his promises, Gentileschi's father took him to court. The trial lasted for a total of 7 months. At the end, Tassi was found guilty. During her time in Florence, Artemisia helped Michelangelo's nephew, Michelangelo Buonarroti, by supplying him with a painting that was adorned to the ceiling of a gallery. Her other works for during this time include The Conversation of Magdalene, Self-Portrait of a Lute Player, and Judith and Her Maid-Servant. She moved to Naples in 1630 since it was a city that had a reputation of being very lucrative for artists, and during her stint in the city, she worked on paintings that were meant for cathedrals. Birth of St. John the Baptist and Corsica and the Satyr are notable works from this period. In 1638, she went to work with her father Orazio in London, England, to work for King Charles I. They worked on the paintings that constituted the decoration of the Great Hall at the Queen's house. She continued to work in London for a few years, then went back to Naples. Artemisia got married to the painter Pier Antonio Stiatesi at around 1613, but the marriage ended in 1621 due to rising debts owing to her husband's spending habits. The couple had a daughter named Palmyra. There is a dispute among historians regarding the exact year or cause of her death. The 1620s represent the high watermark of Gentileschi's achievement. Her subsequent career, spent mostly in Naples, succumbed to the fragmentation of purpose, while retaining on occasion much of the vigor of a mature style grew increasingly attractive to the idealizations, both of the Bolognese and after her visit to England. Her influence on her contemporaries is still in need of detailed assessment, but it is clear that she greatly stimulated the imagination of Guerri in Florence and of Vouet in Rome, and her contribution to the development of the Neapolitan school, particularly through her impact on Stanzione and Cavoli, was arguably profound. Her best-known work is Judith slaying Holofernes, which shows the decapitation of Holofernes, a scene of a horrific struggle and bloodletting. The work shows the scene of Judith beheading Holofernes common in art since the early Renaissance, as part of the groups of subjects called the power of women, which shows women triumphing over powerful men. This painting, among her most ambitious, recounts the story of the Jewish heroine Esther, who appeared before King Ahasuerus to plead for her people. She thus broke court etiquette and risked death. She fainted in the king's presence, but her request found favor. The story is conceived not as a historical recreation, but as a contemporary event. Since she was trained by her father, there had been some debate regarding who had actually painted certain earlier pieces by Gentileschi. The work Madonna and Child is one such work that has sometimes been attributed to Artemisia and sometimes to her father. Madonna and Child is an early painting by the Baroque painter Artemisia Gentileschi. Venus and Cupid is a circa 1626 painting by Artemisia Gentileschi in the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. Venus and Cupid is a depiction of a sleeping Venus who reclines on a blue bed covering a rich crimson and gold tasseled pillow. The work blends together realism, classicism through its iconology and the artist's style. Susanna and the Elders is one of several paintings by Artemesia Gentileschi. The painting tells the story of Susanna from the book of Daniel after having a bath in her garden. Susanna is blackmailed by two older men who threatens her with claims of promiscuity unless she has sex with them. Cleopatra is an oil painting on canvas made in about 1620 by the Italian painter. The painting, already attributed to Guido Caganassi, was also unanimously returned by critics to Gentileschi and is believed to belong to his Florentine period. The painter will also return later in terms of more formal elegance. Judith and Her Maid-Servant is a painting by the Italian Baroque artist Gentileschi, executed sometime between 1640 and 1645. The story comes from the Deuteronomical Book of Judith, in which Judith seduces and then beheads the general Holofernes. The painting Lot and His Daughters was attributed to Bernardo Cavallino until Gentileschi expert Mary Garrard in 1989 pointed out that it was much more likely that Gentileschi was the author. Cavallino and Gentileschi sometimes collaborated, which may explain error. This painting was first identified as one of Artemisia's in 1987. It contains her typical motives such as the brown gold dress and the light veil over one shoulder and the suspended drapery. These and other stylistic features clearly indicated that the attribution to Artemisia's is correct, and it dates the painting to the early 1620s. The Adoration of the Magi, or the Adoration of the Kings, is the name traditionally given to the subject in the Nativity of Jesus in art, in which the three Magi represent as kings, especially in the West, having found Jesus by following a star, lay before him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and worship him.